if you're already attracting leads for your coaching business, but they're unqualified, they're low quality, they have low intent, or perhaps they give you endless objections, then in this video, I'm going to explain the 7 common mistakes that coaches are making that are the cause of these problems. Now, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe because I release videos just like this almost every single week. But otherwise, let's get straight into the video. So the first mistake is that you're focusing too much on value content to build trust and try to show that you are an expert. Value content being how-to content, step by step, any content really designed to give someone a solution directly in that piece of content. That is value content. Now, the problem with this is that value content for many years now, there is an abundance of it. It is everywhere. And wherever you look, you can find value content in one form or another, whether that's on Google, whether that's on Instagram, whether that's on YouTube or TikTok or X or any platform. Value content, especially with ChatGPT now as well, it's very accessible. It's too accessible, which means that actually the value of value content massively has decreased because it's now a commodity, right? Anyone can access it as and when they please. And so instead, what you want to focus on is creating a shift with your content, but more importantly, using hyper specific messaging. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, number one, creating a shift. You may have heard me talk about this before, but creating a shift in your content is all about a perspective shift. Okay, so your clients or your dream clients, they have an idea on what they believe is their problem, and so they are, in theory, looking this way as to what their problem is. Your content needs to be designed in such a way where it shows them that this is not a problem over here, but instead the problem is this over here, and you have a solution to fix that, and also you have the proof to show you fixed it before. That is what creating a shift is all about. You do not have to actually give people the solution to show you can actually provide a solution. You just have to show that you can give a solution, and you do that by providing a shift. Okay. The second part of that is the messaging. Now, messaging is a big topic in itself, but the key thing with messaging is the specifics of the language and the words and the examples that you're using. And the mistake that most people make is they just go too broad. When people go too broad, what happens is, yes, you get more reach, you get more engagement, perhaps, you might even get followers off the back of it. But the challenge is people don't resonate enough with your content to then want to buy from you, especially high ticket. And especially if you want to sell in the DMs, you have to get people pre-sold before they even reach out. And a big part of that is the messaging and the language you're using. And so you want people to look at your content and say, crap, that is me. So they want to read or listen to your content or watch your content and say, wow, what Harry is saying, that is literally my situation. That is what I've just been through. That happened to me yesterday. That happens to me all the time, whatever it might be. Rather than people reading your content and going, oh, that's nice, that's useful, I'll save that. We don't want that. Okay. We want people to have that feeling of resonance with the content and also then to create that shift. So that's number one. The second mistake is that you're too focused on selling the outcome because that's what you think buyers care about the most. And it's not, again, it's just not. There was a time, again, years ago in the coaching industry as a whole, where the outcome probably was the most important thing. And you would have heard people say all the time, sell the outcome. It's a very common piece of advice. And it's not that selling the outcome is wrong and that you shouldn't do it. Yes, you should do it, but it should not be the main focus, or at least the only focus of your sales strategy. What you want to focus on as well, alongside the outcome, is selling the pathway to that outcome. Now, if you are someone who is selling low ticket offers, you're selling to complete beginners in whatever industry you're in, then this advice actually might not apply to you. This applies much more to those who typically you're watching this video, you have a high ticket offer, you're selling a high ticket offer, you want to work with people who aren't beginners in the thing that you're teaching, you want to attract higher level, higher quality leads. Or selling the path is much more important to be able to do that, because those types of leads, those types of clients, they've already tried stuff. They're already on the path to achieving the goal you help them with. And so the idea of selling them the path is that high ticket leads and these types of people, they don't just want the outcome. They want a very specific way to get to the outcome. They care very much so about the how, not just the outcome. Because at the end of the day, they want new as well. People who are willing to pay more not just for a bigger and better outcome, but they pay more for a new way, a different way to get there. Okay, so selling the path is very important in doing that, but it also creates certainty. There's such a lack of trust. There's a trust deficit at the moment, especially in the industry. And so being able to show people the exact path, step by step, that you're going to take them on to get them to their goal, that creates certainty. And certainty leads to sales. Number three, you are creating sales content purely based on their future goals and ambitions. And the challenge with this is, those goals or those problems perhaps you're talking about, they're things that happen in the future. They're not now problems. They're not now goals. They're not now situations. So you want to look at your content and ask yourself, okay, well, the topics I'm talking about, the hooks I'm using, am I focusing on now problems or now goals, or am I focused on future problems and future goals? You want to focus on now rather than future for 80% of the time. Okay, most people probably do it the opposite. Most people probably do it as 20% is like now stuff and 80% is big picture. It's like, the end goal, the big problems. And that's all well and good having that. But again, I'll try and give an example. So let's say you're trying to build a coaching business. You might be someone who is currently doing one-to-one coaching. You're perhaps you want to scale. You may be doing less than 10K per month. You want to get to 100K per month. And you want to scale, right? Let's just say that. Well, a future problem would be perhaps hiring a team, right? It's, hiring a team once you get to maybe 30, 40K per month might start to make more sense. But if you're under 10,000 per month, you just don't need a team, right? And so if I was making content around building a team, well, that's not going to apply to you. If you're under 10K per month, and you want to get to 100K, building and hiring a team is not going to apply to you right now. Yes, it's something that you will need to do, and it's something you're probably aware you're going to have to do, but it's not a now problem, right, for you. A now problem for you might be that you're stuck in one-to-one coaching and you can't scale anymore, you can't take on any more clients because you're limited by your capacity, right? So that would be a now problem. That's something that I would then create content on instead, rather than something that you need to solve in the future. That was number three. Number four, you're always posting about the successes and the wins in your offers, but never about the failures, right? And so that's what we want to do instead. Is that, again, this kind of 80-20 idea, maybe 80% of the time it's positive, but 20% of the time, talk about mistakes, talk about failures, talk about things you've done wrong, talk about experiences where you tried something and it didn't work, or where you got rejected, or whatever it might be. Because at the end of the day, the people you're selling to, they are not in the same position as you. And so you are someone who is an expert at what you do. You've had a success, you've got the results, but you are an expert, because you are part of a small minority of people who have had results in that thing. And because of that fact, if you only talk about the view at the top of the mountain, let's say, well, there's only a few people who are at that point who can actually resonate and relate to that. Your clients, your leads, your dream clients, they're going to resonate much more with you when you speak about the journey to get to where you are. Okay, it's not your outcome that sells, it's the journey to get there. And the journey is not all positive. The journey is ups and downs, it's failures, it's mistakes, it's all of it. So make sure you're sharing the other side of the coin, because that is ultimately what people resonate with the most, because for them, that's probably what they're experiencing the most is failure, is mistakes, are negative things that are happening. So that's what's going to get their attention and actually relate much more than if you just constantly talk about the good stuff and all the wins and success you've had. Moving on to number five. Fifth point, you've picked one niche, thinking that that's what you need to do to become a specialist. Now, being a specialist and having one niche is good. It is important. And it's a great way to be able to, specialize and kind of separate and differentiate yourself from other people in the industry. However, most people do it the wrong way. Most people say, okay, well, I'm going to focus on this person and I'm going to deliver this outcome and I'm going to do it with this method, and that's my niche. And that's a really good place to start, but it's too surface level. Again, there's too many people nowadays doing the same thing as you, selling the same offer, saying the same crap, whatever, that is too surface level to really differentiate you enough compared to compared to other coaches who are in the same space as you. So what do we do instead? Well, there's three things you want to be able to market more: your identity, your model, and your mechanisms. Now, quick overview of each. Identity is all about you. Identity is your transformation. It's what I call your soul stories. So that is the kind of micro stories and experiences that have made up your life, have made up your journey to where you are right now. And it's all about your code, right? Your code It is the values and the morals and the ethics in which you live by, right? And so your code really determines how you show up in your business. And that's something you want to talk about and share in your content. So that is what identity is all about. Also, lifestyle plays into that. Showing your lifestyle, what you do outside of work, is identity. And the second one there was model. Now, model, again, there's quite a few things to model, but the two kind of key ones, obviously, yes, is who you're helping. And you want to be very clear and very specific on the ideal client for you. But importantly, it's your ideas. It's your big ideas, right? And so what I mean by that is you want to sell people on ideas before you try and sell them on your offer. So for example, I'm a big believer, or some of my ideas are having one offer, right? I believe you just need one main offer and that's it. You don't need multiple offers, you need one main offer. That's one of my ideas, right? And now an idea doesn't mean that it's something that is completely unique to you. It's something you believe in, because there are coaches out there who might sell the same thing as me to help you achieve the same outcome, perhaps have a very similar offer, but their ideas on how you get there might be very different to me, right? So that's how we differentiate. That's how we create a niche of one. So ideas are very important. So have a think about what are your 5 big ideas that make you different to other people who do the same thing as you. The final point to that is their mechanisms. Mechanisms are your methods, your original devices. They are the strategies, the techniques, the methods that you use to get your students and get your clients results. They, again, when you market those, are what helps to differentiate you. And when combined together, when you have your identity, your model, and your mechanisms, they form your niche, right? They what differentiate you completely from other people in your space. Final points. Number 6, you're always available and your offer is always open to try and make it accessible. Now, this is another big mistake, and a mistake that I also used to make. And I say it's a mistake. It's not a mistake in the sense that you can't do that and it doesn't work. You can do that and it does work, but typically always being available, always being open attracts lower quality leads. And because again, a low quality lead isn't simply someone who can't afford it or who isn't a right fit for your program. A low quality lead can also be someone who is a good fit, who is the right person for the program, but they have low intent, they have low urgency, low desire to want to actually commit and work with you right now. That is a low quality lead as well. And so if you're always available, you tend to attract more of that person. You also, what happens is people then delay actually reaching out to you because they know that if they don't say action this month, you're going to be ready for them next month or ready for them next week or whatever it might be. So always being available can actually be a detriment more than it is a benefit for you. So what do we do instead? Well, we can limit access and limit availability. A couple of ways to do this. You can actually open close enrollment for your program. It's something that I do. I open and close every month, and I only let in a limited number of students every month as well. So I cap a certain number of spots. That's one way to do it. You could also just quite literally limit access to you in terms of if you're taking sales calls. It might be you only take sales calls for 1 week in a month, and you actually make people have to wait, get onto a call with you. You can even do a wait list to get onto a sales call with you. There's many ways to do it, but you don't want it to just be that you are simply immediately available for anyone at any time. Because that can work against you. And there is an argument, and I used to do this, there is an argument to be immediately available, to book sales calls immediately. But again, when you're trying to attract higher quality leads, if you're trying to sell in the DMs as well, then always being available, again, tends to work against that. And the final point is that you're stealing content ideas from the Explore and the Reels tab, and you're thinking that that's what people want to see. So you start recreating that stuff. That is a recipe for disaster when it comes to attracting low quality leads. Because the reality is this: the Explore page, the Reels tab, every single piece of content you see on there, that is that is there because the masses typically are engaging with it. And if the masses are engaging with the content, then what you'll find is that within the masses is a generic group of people. Or should I say, a more popular group is going to be lower quality leads. You are going to get the high quality leads within those ideas, of course, but it can be a very small amount. So you have to be very careful with simply just taking ideas you see on the Reels tab and then applying them to yourself, because these are ideas that if they're going viral, are going viral because they're generic, right? And being generic doesn't equal high quality leads. So they're kind of two counterintuitive ideas you have to be careful with. What you do instead? Well, it's not that you can't use those ideas, you can, but typically you want to go from creating and turn more to documenting, trying to document more of what you're already doing rather than trying to create from scratch, again, is a great way to attract high quality leads. And that's not because you'll see any difference necessarily in content performance. You might see a difference, but the point there is that by documenting more than creating, you're hitting some of the other points that I've mentioned that are going to be beneficial. Showing lifestyle, you're showing more about your values, more about you, more about the model and the mechanisms. And by actually demonstrating just how you live and how you do what you do, that in itself would attract higher quality leads, right? And so documentation is a very important part of content creation that many people tend to forget about, because you're ultimately selling a lifestyle as much as you're selling an outcome. And that's regardless of what it is you sell. Believe it or not, you are selling a lifestyle, whether that's health, whether that's a financial lifestyle, whatever. There is a lifestyle you are selling attached to your offer, whether you realize it or not. And when you understand that if you can embody that lifestyle yourself and then just simply document that, then that's going to transform your business completely and attract much higher quality leads. Okay, so that's your 7 mistakes. Again, there's a ton more I could have done, but I wanted to keep this video as short as possible and as direct and kind of tactical as possible as well. So all of these combined together, one way or another, will mean that you attract lower quality leads. So make sure you watch this video again, go through each point, create an action plan if you need to for how you're going to do things differently and what you're going to be doing instead of the mistakes. And without a doubt, if you can start implementing some of these from today, you'll start seeing an improvement in the quality of leads that you have coming through to your coaching business. So yeah, other than that, I appreciate your time watching the video. Do make sure to subscribe as I release new videos like this every single week. Otherwise, enjoy your day, enjoy your evening, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you in the next video.